Well, this just in, we're now learning where the Republican National Committee will be hosting its 2016 convention, a decision that will bring millions of dollars in economic activity and tens of thousands of visitors to the city, but also raises a lot of questions about the strategy moving forward for the GOP. Joining us now, Reince Priebus, chairman of the Republican National Committee. So, Reince, where will it be in 2016?
It's going to be in Cleveland in 2016. The Republican National Committee has chosen Cleveland, and we couldn't be more excited. I think that it is a city that's on the rise. We're excited about it. They're building the entire lakefront out, and I got to tell you, if you haven't been to Cleveland lately, it's a real surprise how beautiful it is down by that lake, and we're excited about bringing the RNC to Cleveland in 2016.
Well, beautiful lake, but also a very important swing state at the same time when we look at the politics of it. So logistically, I'm sure you had some considerations, but symbolically, what does this say about the GOP strategy as you move forward towards that big 2016 campaign?
Well, I will say, I mean, it was a business decision. I mean, when it came down to hotels, the venue, the arena, it was unbelievable. I mean, the queue there, Dan Gilbert, the Cavaliers, what they've got and what they've built there in Cleveland is really something to see. Connected to the queue, though, is Jacobs Field. And you have the entire baseball field at your disposal, suites, restaurants. But you're right. In the end, as well, it's Cleveland, Ohio. And as goes Ohio, so goes the presidential race. And so, you know, it's just something we've committed to as a national committee. We've got a full-time field staff there now in Ohio. We've got full-time offices now from the national committee in Ohio. This is something that historically, unfortunately, our party's only been involved with during the last 5 months of a campaign. I think it's been terrible for our party. We've changed things at the RNC. I guess you could say it may be a cherry on top of the cake to go to Cleveland. But in the end, we're excited about bringing the convention to Cleveland and Ohio. And we're excited about the decision. I think it's a smart decision.
Interesting to hear about the infrastructure that you're setting up, because as you point out, that was a big point of contention as folks look back on the 2012 races and what was happening in key swing states like Ohio. When will this convention be? I've heard reports as early as June, maybe mid-July. The last convention, just so our viewers remember, was in late August. So when will you hold it?
Yeah, so we've picked 2 different start dates that our legal team is negotiating with Cleveland on. It's either going to start on June 28th or it will start on July 18th. And so as you go through all these contracts, so if people understand what goes into it, you have to obviously make sure you have enough hotel rooms. In the case of Cleveland, you have to make sure that you can get into this arena. Obviously, if the Cavaliers are in the finals, it makes things difficult for a June 28th start. So these are all the things that now the legal team is going to go to Cleveland and work on, and then we'll have an announcement on a start date sometime soon. But we're excited about Cleveland. We're excited about Ohio. We're also excited about our party's future in Ohio, which is something that we've invested a lot of money into.
Well, either way, regardless if it's the June date or the July date, it's much earlier, again, than the previous conventions and when we will know who the GOP candidate for president will be. Why do you think earlier is better?
Well, I think it's much better because nowadays, unlike the past, so that people understand, the reason conventions kept getting pushed closer and closer to Election Day was because candidates always took public money, and they could only spend the public money between the convention and the actual election. So, but now the candidates don't take this money, and so what ends up happening is a candidate can be broke, but they're not able to raise general election money until the convention is held. So if you have a candidate that's broke after a primary in May, that candidate is basically a duck on the pond until you get nominated. Therefore, if you have an August or September convention, you're basically sitting there with no money, no ability to raise money. So that's why we moved the convention back to the end of June, mid-July. So now the whole process can move forward without hamstringing your candidates.
And just a quick final question. I know money obviously is a key issue, but also this question about when you have the convention brings up the issue of debates as well. How will this impact the debate schedule? And also, are you worried just about voter fatigue from folks seeing the same person eventually again and again from June, July on? Do you think that could hurt your party?
No, because the nominee's basically chosen in April or May anyway. I mean, even though Mitt had a long primary, he was our presumptive nominee before the end of April. It was just a totally bruising I think, unnecessarily bruising primary. So what the convention does by moving it sooner is that you actually compress the primary calendar so that now instead of having a 6-month primary process, you have a 60-day or 70-day process, and then you can get to the convention sooner. So it really doesn't change the nomination process other than shorten the time period by which some of this bruising takes place.
Well, I'd love to have you back to talk a little bit about the debates. We're going to have to leave it there, though.
I'd be happy to.
Today. And thank you for the news. So Cleveland, Ohio, I guess folks can start booking their hotel and their plane travel and everything else, doing a lot of research. Reince, great to see you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Cleveland. Beautiful city down